Welcome to the Programming Lions podcast, where we are on a mission to build young, productive patriots. And today we'll definitely deliver. We've got Izaiah Dillion on the show. He is an online coach. Boy, does he have an interesting background. He grew up in Stockton, California, pretty rough upbringing. We're going to get into that. Furthermore, he's going to talk about his mindset, which is incredible, resilient, and amazing. So without further ado, let's get into it. Izaiah, welcome to the Programming Lions podcast. We're so glad you could join us on the show today. We got a number of questions we want to get through with you, and you've got a really cool, interesting background and a lot of great services that you can offer to people. But before we get into that, could you spend a few moments and just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and your story?
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Really do. I really do appreciate it. But my name's Izaiah Dillion. I'm from a small city in California called Stockton. To this day, it's ranked top 10 most dangerous cities in all the United States. So I grew up out there, really wasn't around good people. You become a product of your environment after enough time, especially at a young age. And I got into a lot of trouble. To make a long story short, I was getting in a lot of trouble. By the time I was 16, I was fighting 6 felonies and 3 misdemeanors, and pretty much turned my life around, got some clarity, realized that I was a boy making decisions based off how I felt, and now I make decisions based off what I'm supposed to do. And now I'm a life coach. I teach people training, nutrition, mindset, and just how to create the best version of themselves through daily habits.
Wow, that's amazing. So we'll have some cool stuff to unpack with you today.
Did you move out of the town that you were living in before?
Yeah, so I lived in Stockton, and now I live in Tokyo. This is where I do my coaching at.
Do you guys know where Stockton is? It's in California.
I know it's in California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess for starters, what's it like growing up in a city where there is so much violence, and how do you go about your days? Is it risky? Do you worry a lot? What's that like?
For me, it's like you don't notice it. Like I didn't notice how different my city was until I left out of the city. Because everyone, I don't know, I just grow up. Everyone, it seems all normal. You definitely look over your shoulder. I don't walk down the street and have someone walk behind me. It's just I don't know, things like that. When I moved out here to Japan, to Tokyo, all that goes away, and you just realize a different kind of lifestyle. So I didn't realize how dangerous it was and how many bad people. It just seemed normal to me. I just grew up out there. I didn't have any other examples. I never even had left the city. The first time I got on a plane was when I was 19 years old. So I stayed in the city my whole time. I really even went out of the city. It wasn't crazy to me. It was just normal life for me.
Wow.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's insane. About that, you said that you went to jail because you had like several felonies and charges. Yeah. And that was probably because you probably thought you were cool or something. Right? So can you maybe tell us about how being cool isn't always the best thing to do?
Yeah, so it started off with me. It's like the saying goes, if you take one brick out of a house, it's not going to make the house fall. But if you continuously take bricks out of the house, it's going to make the house collapse, obviously. And it started off, I grew up very poor and broke. And to me, I felt that was a reason for me to take from other people because I didn't have what I wanted and what I needed in life. So I started off just stealing small things. I would go into a Walmart, take something. I didn't really bother me because it was a Walmart and I was like, oh, it's a big corporation. Didn't really matter. Anyways, I started off doing that, taking the one brick, which would be stealing from Walmart. And then I see no immediate consequences. So I figured that I was okay. And if anything happened, I could just run away, get away. Long story short, it built up progressively to where I was stealing from better stores, from other people, from other things. And then eventually, I broke into a house, which was the craziest thing that I've done to this day. So yeah, I broke into a house, and that was the day that I got arrested.
Wow.
I spent 5 days in jail. But that was just, they took me to jail. They did all the processing, got me set up for my next court date and everything. And at my first court date, the judge didn't want to let me out of jail because I just broke into a house, obviously. And but my public defender, he said some good words. I don't even remember exactly what he said, but the judge agreed that I could be released on house arrest. So they put an ankle monitor on me. I missed my first 2 days of junior year in high school because I was in jail. And then I went to school the third day with the ankle monitor on. And it's very obvious when you have an ankle monitor on. It has a little flashing light. You can't really cover it unless you're wearing some big pants. And it was in the summer. It's like 100 degrees in California. So.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's insane.
What was that like, walking around school with an ankle bracelet on?
In all honesty, it made me feel cool. That's just how it is back there. That's just how it is. You get like cool points for doing things like that. Like everyone's talking about you. That's just how it was. So I'm walking around school. I literally had to charge it in class because if it dies, that's a violation of probation. Your probation officer is going to come and arrest you. So it dies pretty quick too. Like, it's kind of bad, but I would literally charge it in class. So I would sit by the wall, plug it into my ankle, and then take my charge. Yeah, so it made me feel cool back then, in all honesty.
Wow.
How long did you have it? Or do you
I
still
had
have
that on for 3 weeks. So you can't even leave that. You go to school and back from school. You're not going anywhere else. If you step out of your house, go down the street, it updates, it pings every single minute, updating your location of the probation officer. So if you leave, it's an automatic violation of probation.
Wow.
That is
pretty
wild.
crazy.
So you're a junior in high school and you've now spent 5 days in jail, and you're probably in a juvie jail or something like that. But that had to be an incredible and perhaps terrifying experience. What did that do to you?
So I remember the day that I got booked. It was I got arrested at maybe midnight. Finally got into the jail and processed and everything about 3 p.m. They took all my clothes, everything. I had long hair at the time, and they took my rubber band. They said wear a ponytail. The most uncomfortable thing ever because I never had my hair down. So my hair is right here. I look like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. You guys know that's pretty much what I looked like walking into the jail, and I was just very uncomfortable. I tried to get my first phone call. The phone didn't work. I couldn't even talk to my mom. So I didn't speak to my mom on the phone while I was in there. It was a tiny little cell, concrete. They give you a wool blanket. So it's like an itchy blanket if you've ever felt wool. Yeah,
Wow.
That's quite a story. We've checked out some of your content and what you do and what you promote, and it's very dialed, disciplined, and purposeful. So you've made a very dramatic shift. What sort of reset you, would you say?
It was really the moment that I got tackled. In all honesty, when I got tackled on the ground by the cop, because I always had the belief, I was fast, I was young, that I could just get away. And there'd been times where I'd almost been caught, people come yelling out, screaming, "Hey, put that," or whatever, and we just run off. So we just run. No one could really catch us. This police officer, I'm telling you, he was probably 23, fresh out of the academy. He's like 6'4", fast. Like he caught me quick. Like, I'm running down the street. I'm already exhausted because my heart's pounding. So to kind of go back into the story, we're inside of the house. We're in the house for maybe a minute. It was way too long. We're in there for like a minute to 2 minutes. Someone comes knocking on the front door, and we just like shoot out the window that we had just broke into. We didn't know who it was, but we just ran out and we jumped over 3 gates. The police knew pretty much what we were going to do, and they just came literally screeching around the corner in their cop car. So by this point, my heart is pounding super fast. Adrenaline is pumping. I just jumped 3 fences. I like ran from a dog that was in the other yard. Like it's like a movie scene, man.
It sounds like.
I'm running down the street. I'm already like super scared and exhausted. And he like hops fresh out the car and we run not too far down the street and he just tackles me. So that moment, I like the fear like really set in because I was like, I had not ever been arrested before. It was crazy. I'm sitting in the back of the cop car, and that's when I've always known that I wasn't supposed to be doing these things. I wasn't just completely oblivious. Like I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but it set in the moment that I got tackled on the ground because there was no escaping.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
What were some of the immediate things that you did to course correct in terms of people around you, things that you were doing, whatever? What were some of those changes that you made immediately? So
it's pretty much the same process that I use today. I didn't know that intentionally what it was doing, that I was bettering my mindset and my energy, but I was doing it while I was locked up. So I would get up, I would read, and then I would self-reflect, and then I would get active. I was always working out and reading. I think I read through, at that point, I'd never even really read. Like through high school, I was just cheating, just going through classwork. But at that point, I'd read a book in 5 days. That was like a giant accomplishment for me. But I just focused my time and my energy on bettering myself, which is exactly what I do now. I didn't know back then what I was doing, but that's what I teach today, is teach people how to have the highest level of confidence and appreciation for life. And it's very easy to have those two things when you admire who you see in the mirror, based off the work that you do and the person that you're creating every day.
Wow.
Did the people you hang around with give you a hard time about your change of mindset?
Nah, it was pretty gradual. It happened just all one split second. I started to better myself a little bit, then I got my grades better.
Speaking of that, were you like any like groups or anything? Like a gang?
Any groups, like a gang or something, do you mean?
Yeah.
Nah, not a gang, nah. I used to steal stuff, but I wasn't like a tough guy. I never walked around acting like a tough guy, really.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What you just described sounded like a movie scene, actually. So
jumping over fences,
wild.
being tackled,
Running away from a dog, getting tackled.
Hollywood should hire you.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have the stereotypical police officer, it sounds like. You had a racehorse that chased you down. So
What do you think?
that's good. We need more of those.
What do you think his 100-meter is?
I don't know. I wish I could meet him today, but he was fast. He was a big dude. He was fast. The reason I knew he was so young, he looked young, but then when he arrested me, he reached into his pocket and he pulled out the Miranda rights on his on a little note card that he wrote down because he hadn't memorized them yet. So
Okay.
he's reading it. It was pretty funny to me.
So he was a newbie, but okay. Well, doing his job. That's great.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I know that's probably it's maybe a sensitive and personal topic, but I appreciate you sharing it. And again, we hope this can inspire people that you can have a tough background and get over it and get past it. And so then that's a great segue into the next phase of what we want to talk about is the things that you promote and what those are. So boys, what questions did you have about Isaiah's doctrine?
First of all, I just want to know what your daily habits and routine be like.
So I do the same thing every single day. As soon as I get up in the morning, and this is to bring the best energy, the best version of myself. Because naturally I wake up with negative self-talk. I'm just not the most positive person, low energy. I just woke up. So as soon as I get up in the morning, I read, I self-reflect through journaling, and then I get active. I do a very intense workout. All three of those things, one of my mentors, he says the inner peace is not knowing time as it passes by. So when I'm reading a book, I'm just fully focused on the book. When I'm journaling, I'm fully focused. And when you're doing a very intense workout, there's not a care or a desire in the world. Everything goes away and you're solely focused on that one aspect that you're doing. And I do that same process every single morning. And those are the 3 massive wins that I get. And then I just continuously stack wins throughout the day.
All right, so mindset is critical. How do you put yourself in a proper state of mind?
Yeah, so with that same process that I just said, read, self-reflect through journaling, and then I get active. But the number one would probably be the getting active, because when I go to the gym, one of my biggest accomplishments for the day, today is leg day. I'm going to go get under the bar, 225 pounds. And I'm going to squat that as many times as possible. Usually get it for 20 reps. It doesn't matter the weight.
Whoa.
It's just the fact that it's an intense workout. It is very intense. And people focus too much on the gym. Anybody, if you were just to drop down and do as many burpees as you could, if you did 100 burpees right now, you would get such a clear mental state of mind. It would erase all problems. If you were fighting with your brother or you were fighting with your wife or anyone and you dropped down and did 50 burpees, 100 burpees, I guarantee you the problem would go away. It would go away. You would be more concerned about catching your breath than the issue that you were just dealing with.
Yeah. Oh, burpees are the worst, right, boys?
Yeah.
I like this, though. Maybe next time you guys fight, I'll just break you apart.
Or
You'll do
maybe-
burpees
yeah.
until your body gives out, and you'll forget about what you were fighting over, right?
I don't know.
I might try that. Maybe
I'm
Matt's
telling-
gonna then hear, right? He could pout, and then I could go outside, upstairs, and I can.
There you go, burpees. Yeah.
Yeah. So you never skip leg day?
Oh, no. No way. Absolutely not.
See, boys, can't skip leg day,
No.
right?
The saying is true. The saying.
Leg
is
day
true.
is the best day. I didn't realize it. It's always interesting because people, you can say a message to someone that's very clear, very understandable, but it just doesn't receive. They just don't receive it. Pretty much what I try to do, even on my page, is just I try to say the same message in 30 different ways so that it just hits everybody. But someone said to me, they had me realize, they're like, if you were to split your body in half, and literally your legs is half of your body, and I used to skip leg day, I'm like, I'm skipping half of my body every single week. I'm like, this is crazy. So literally just hearing that one time, it just clicked for me. I knew I was supposed to be doing legs, but once I realized I wasn't working out half of my body, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta work at the whole thing.
That's right.
Whole thing.
That's right. We did leg day yesterday.
Yep.
Good question.
Yeah,
William.
nice.
Now we're going to go into the society and culture topic.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask this question?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
just
just want to
one
ask. Feel like it didn't necessarily ever fit in, so I just,
Okay.
So I'm just gonna ask it now, okay? Surrounding yourself with the right people is typically a really good thing to do, and you need it. Can you tell us more about that?
I mean, yeah, you definitely have to surround yourself around good people, but I think the first thing, it's just more important to make yourself better first. It'd be selfish of me to just wake up in the morning and go put myself around good people or even my friends or my family or anything. It just would be selfish because I'm at a low energy. I'm not at the best version of myself. But if I start the day being intentional on creating my best self, and then I go out into the world, now I'm being what I want. I want to be around good people, but I'm not being a good person myself. So just starting the day off being very focused on being your best self and then giving that away is more of a better feeling and more of a rewardful than just trying to go and take from other people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes.
I like that. It makes sense.
I've never heard anyone say that before like that.
Yeah.
There's always that saying like to surround yourself around good people, and then that will reflect on you.
Mhm.
But I've never heard of that, and that's a really good idea to do.
One thing I say, there's so many boys that want to get around good men, but you're never going to get around good men unless you're a good man yourself. Like, you're not just going to hang around the top dudes in the world being some low-level guy. It's not going to happen. It just does not work out that way. You have to create that man first in order to even have conversations and get around these other kind of men.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that.
Isaiah, what you do in your coaching activity, I'd like to understand a little bit more about the process that you use with people. It sounds like it's pretty hands-on. You're a coach, but you also provide some accountability check-ins, which a lot of people need.
Mm-hmm.
And walk us through what a typical coaching experience would look like and what you go through.
So when someone joins my coaching program, I have two apps. I have a training app and I have a nutrition app.
Okay.
So training and nutrition is not just, that's the surface level view that I'm just going to get training and nutrition. I'm going to make my body right. No, you have the highest level of confidence and appreciation for life when you truly admire who you see in the mirror. That's how it happens. So I'm teaching people to have the highest level of confidence. When you join my coaching, I'm going to get you on my training app and then my nutrition app. And then once a week, we're going to get on a phone call and talk about everything training, nutrition, and mindset. I can give you a training plan. Someone can give you a diet plan. But if you don't have the mindset to stick to it, it doesn't even matter. If you don't believe that you're going to do it, it doesn't matter. If you check in weekly with me and the team and everyone else is killing it and doing what they're supposed to do, those little excuses that you're making, they're not going to be made anymore. And then there's going to be questions being asked that you didn't even know that you had. One simple mindset switch that I can make for someone is when they're dieting and they're cutting weight, it's going to get very uncomfortable when you start cutting weight and you're very hungry all the time. And I used to spend time, I would be very hungry and I'm just talking to myself all day long, like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I can't wait to eat. I can't wait to eat. If I can just tell you that hunger is literally the feeling of fat being burned, it's going to change your mindset every single time you get hungry. You're like, thank God I'm hungry right now because I know that I'm literally feeling the fat being burned off. But if you were to stay for 90 days in that negative self-talk about, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry, versus switching it to thank you, I'm so glad that I'm hungry, I'm on the right path, it completely changes it. You just changed 1,000 thoughts that you would have had, keeping you on point.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love that. I love that. So when you're hungry, your body is, it's burning fat to keep its energy level, right? So that's really an interesting way to look at it. And you can start liking that feeling instead of being scared of it and giving in to that pressure. Is that one of the, let's say, most common challenges that you run into with people is just the discipline and the habits and keeping on track? And is that why the consistent check-ins and accountability steps are part of your program?
Yeah, exactly. People say someone starts a diet or a new workout routine. Everyone around them is like, oh my God, did it? Yay, you're doing it. You've been doing it for a week. You deserve a cheat meal. You do not deserve a cheat meal. That's not beneficial to creating the person that you admire. You don't deserve a cheat meal. No, you have people that look up to you and need you. So you need to be the best version of yourself. You need, the difference between boys and men and girls and women is that they act based off how they feel versus what they want. Those are the differences. So if you're a grown person and you can't even control the foods that you're eating, how are you supposed to have any level of influence over the people that look up to you and that need you? There's no cheat meals. There's you being the best version of yourself and staying focused and disciplined. Some people just need to hear that. They get around their friends and they've been dieting for a week and they've never even done it. They're like, oh my, yay. No, we're not celebrating something that you're supposed to have been doing. You're 20 years behind. It's time to catch up.
Yeah. I love this.
Wow.
You're obviously passionate about this, and I love the energy you have about when you're talking about this. And that's the kind of coach that people need, is somebody that's going to really hold them accountable and not lie to them, which is a really good segue into a question that Max had about body positivity.
So, like you just said, body positivity. Do you have any thoughts?
You should not have any body positivity unless you have a positively good body. If you are overweight, you should not be positive. You're just getting around. It's body positivity is a bunch of people getting together just to comfort and lie to one another. No.
Like Miss Alabama?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just a bunch of people just catering and just making each other feel all warm and cozy about being bad humans. If you are overweight, you are letting your people down. It's the most basic thing to be able to eat and live a healthy lifestyle. That's the most basic human thing that you have to do. And people can't even figure that out. There should not be body positivity. There should be more shaming in the world.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, that's
We talk about this a lot too, in terms of we've looked at some body positivity posts, and you're absolutely right. Like, our take on it is you're not helping people by lying to them. And then people feel good when they surround themselves with people that tell them what they want to hear. And if you surround yourself with people that are lying to you, it's actually making you worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
wow.
Okay, so that was good. I appreciate the overview on what your coaching business does. That sounds like a good situation. And for anybody that's interested, we'll have a link in the description. You can check it out. So let's move on to society and culture. We have a few questions we want to pick your brain on in that regard. While we touched on some of these social and cultural matters, one thing that I understand about your background, and you had a challenging childhood in a difficult city, and you also grew up in a fatherless home,
Right.
which can be really difficult. And I empathize with that a lot. I'm a dad, and I can't imagine like not being around my kids, and I had a great father. And so tell me a little bit more, like, what was that like? What did you miss in your life, and how did you maybe find that father figure throughout your evolution into a man?
Yeah, so I haven't seen my dad since I was 3 years old. A very graphic story. He was like abusive. To keep a very graphic story PG, he pretty much tried to kill my mom, and it happened when I was 3 years old. That is actually my first memory. I remember my mom like running me upstairs to the neighbors because she knew there was going to be a fight between her and my dad, and she was in the hospital for weeks. He spent years in jail. Never seen him again since then. But one thing,
Wow.
I have a bad story. Whoop-de-doo. Everyone has a bad story. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that things need to get done throughout the day. It was bad back then. It's not bad It's not bad currently. And I always say, by the time you turn 18, it is your responsibility to learn everything you weren't taught. I didn't have a father in the world. It doesn't matter. If there's at least one good father in the world, we are going to learn from that one father. People make too many excuses on why they haven't created the person that they admire, the person that they need to be. Our whole life's purpose is to create the person that we needed when we were younger. Why would I not have a father and then continue that process throughout my life? I plan on having kids, so why would I not just try to make a father at this age, even though I'm not currently a father?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
that is.
That's a powerful statement. And it leads into something else I wanted to ask you about, is this sort of victim mindset society that we're in. And to your point, a lot of people make excuses. And yes, there's people that have terrible things. You had some terrible things happen in your upbringing, but you've found a way out of it largely by not being a victim and taking ownership over your situation and what you want to be, and seeing that, visualizing it, and making it happen. Your thoughts on victim culture going on today?
Any problem that anyone is dealing with, the way that they view it is just a reflection on the strength of, like, a reflection of their mindset, the strength of their mindset. One of my friends, I'm sure it's been quoted in different ways, but the way that he said it and the way that I received it was just crazy. He says, it's only a big deal if you make it a big deal. You can apply that to anything in life, to the worst of situations. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal. Life is only given meaning based off how we perceive it. So if I perceived that my dad not being there was the worst thing in the world, it would be the worst thing in the world. And I don't even understand it. Like, no, I'm not going to sit and view it that way. It is what it is. It was bad back then. It is not bad now. I don't have enough hours in the day to waste time on that. I have to just focus and create the man that I needed, that I want to be. Life is very, very simple. Just create the best version of yourself. You have the positive mindset or the positive voice in your head telling you the things that you should do. Like when you're out in public, oh, don't eat that cookie. Oh, I should probably go work out. If you just listen to that voice all day, I mean, you would be guided down the right path so quick and you'd be going straight and narrow. But people think that they have better judgment and they just override that voice. No, I can eat this cookie. I'll be fine. I'll just go to the gym tomorrow. It's okay. Okay, you do that enough times, it's led you to where you currently are in life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love that. Thanks for that deep explanation. I think a lot of people will appreciate your perspective there. Another cultural topic that's happening today is, I'd call it like extreme divisiveness, whether it's Republicans versus Democrats or this tribe versus that tribe. And it's incredibly divisive and negative. So How do you deal with a lot of the divisiveness that's happening in the world today?
So honestly, I wasn't watching like mainstream news, but I have my sources that I would watch, like a channel called Valuetainment, run by a guy named Patrick David, a mentor of mine that I look up
Yeah.
to. I don't focus on too many things going on in society. I keep myself in the loop with what's going on around the world, but I really focus on the things that I'm in control of. I don't spend too much time doing anything else versus what I'm fully in control of, and that's just keeping my word to myself.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
I love it. I think that's good advice for anybody.
Yeah.
All right. With that, let's move into a little session, Isaiah, that we like to call Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire is where we have a bunch of questions, and then we ask you these fun ones, and you have to answer them as quick as you can. It's literally the name.
All right. Well, let's go.
All right.
Okay. What's the favorite place you visited?
Singapore.
All right. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To fly.
Or already flying?
Would you rather be vegetarian or carnivore for the rest of your life?
Carnivore.
Have you ever been stuck in a bathroom stall without toilet paper?
I have not.
You haven't?
I have not.
Wow.
Wow.
You're the
Really,
first
you're really
one to
missing
say
out.
I mean,
that.
it happened to me.
He's missing out. I don't know about that.
Talk about getting yourself out of a bind. Yeah.
Excluding us, who is your idol?
Wes Watson.
Would you rather fight a 1,000-pound duck or 1,001-pound ducks?
Oh, 1,001-pound ducks.
Okay.
Coolest invention in your lifetime?
The phone.
Would you rather die to a great white shark or flaming hot volcano?
A volcano, I think it'd be faster.
Okay.
That concludes Rapid Fire.
Thank you.
Okay. There we have Rapid
Wait,
Fire.
who's your idol again, and who is that?
Wes Watson. So he's one of my mentors.
What does he do?
He's got a crazy story too. Long story short, he spent 10 years in prison, got out, and he's teaching personal development as well. He drives a Bugatti. He's got a mansion in Miami, living a life that he created, and he's only been out of prison for 6 years. So
Wow.
Okay.
Good for him. Good
All
for him.
that in 6 years.
Do you have any advice for the GSD Nation?
Just understand, this is always my biggest message, just understand that regardless of who you are, even it doesn't matter your age or who you are, you have people that look up to you, people that can benefit from your positive, good energy. And that can only happen if you are intentional about creating it. When you fully create the person that you admire, you're able to give that person away. We want all these things in the world that, let's hang around good friends, let's do all these good things. We need to start creating that. We need to start creating that. So just focus on the things that you know you're supposed to do. As soon as I say that, something pops into your mind like, yeah, I should probably be doing that. Focus on that and then continue going. Momentum is very real, and everything we do is habit forming. So if you start the day off forming good habits, the momentum is going to build up, and you're going to keep on going throughout the day. Yesterday's wins are not today's wins. You got to go and get after it today.
All right. Great advice. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. And we love your energy, and you've overcome a lot of adversity, and you're leading by example. And so we can't recommend people connect with you enough. And so in that regard, how do people best connect with you and get introduced to some of the services that you provide?
Best way is going to be on social media, on Instagram. My username is Izaiah Dillion, IZAIAH DILLION. I talk about everything. I've shared my life story, talk about insecurities, how I've overcome them, like the vitiligo right here. You can't really see too much in the camera, but I've got white all over my face. And pretty much how I deal with any insecurity I've ever dealt with, the hardships, taking accountability, and just going from a boy to a man.
I love it. Well, we will absolutely have those things in the description so people can check you out, and we recommend that they do, especially if they're trying to get themselves into the best self that they can be. You'll have a good recipe for that, and I hope you have all the success in the world. I love what you're doing, and I'm sure we'll keep in touch on your journey, and maybe we'll do another one of these at some point and catch up. So with that, we'll call it a wrap. Thanks so much for coming on the Programming Alliance podcast.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the show, help us out. Like, subscribe, share, leave us a review. Until next time.